Someone's calling me. Stop. Hello, beautiful people of the internet. My name is Samantha and I've got a pretty exciting video to show you. And today I just wanted to show you all my simplistic makeup collection because I started buying a ton of makeup at once, and then I started seeing the other side of the YouTube community, like the project panners and stuff like that, and then they really inspired me to kind of cut back on buying and kind of appreciate what I have. So I just wanted to show you all everything that I have in my makeup collection at this point in time. Let's just get started. Start with my two chapsticks. I have the Burt's Bees Replenishing Lip Balm, and it's the pomegranate one. I'm not sure how well this moisturizes my lips, but it tints the lips just a little bit, and I like that a lot. I also have this this chapstick, just the basic chapstick brand, and it's just the moisturizing one, and I really like this one because my lips get super dry. So I have this this little sample size of this Buxom, a Wildly Whipped Soft Matte Lip Color, and it's in the color Centerfold. The texture is definitely whipped. It's really, really bizarre. It's unlike anything I've ever tried, but I really, really love this color. Alright, so my favorite glosses are the NYX Butter Glosses. I have the colors Creme Brulee, Eclair, and Madeline. Madeline is definitely my favorite color. It's this brown color, and I'm wearing it on my lips today. I think it's the perfect amount of color. It's not too sheer and it's not too opaque for a gloss. And they're so extremely comfortable on the lips. They don't last all day long, but I really don't mind applying them. They have a sweet scent, and I really like it. It's not too overbearing. I have these NYX Liquid Suede Cream Lipsticks. I have the colors Soft Spoken and Kitten Heels. And I think these colors are beautiful, especially Soft Spoken. I wore that to work yesterday, and I work in a restaurant, and it lasted almost the entire shift. So I love these. These are amazing. And then I also have this Ulta Matte Lip Cream, and this is in the color Stirring. I actually received this as a gift from a Secret Santa. It's a little difficult to apply. It's not my favorite formula, but I can only attest to this one color. Size primer that I have is this e.l.f. Mineralized Infused Face Primer. And it's just the clear kind, but it has a pump, so I really like that. It's a silicone primer. It's just very slip slidey. It is supposed to fill in fine lines and create a flawless finish. I'm not sure about all the fine lines and stuff, but it definitely makes my skin feel smooth. Not exactly sure how long it extends the wear of my foundation, but I'm just kind of trying to use this up because I didn't really feel like it did much for me. The other primer that I have is this little sample of the Too Faced Hangover RX Replenishing Face Primer. And this face primer has a really weird smell. It smells like coconut water, but coconut water to me just smells like musky water. So I don't necessarily like the smell of this face primer, but I don't think it's too overwhelming. I used it for special occasions. I think I used this on prom night, and I think it did extend the wear of my foundation, but it didn't do anything to fill in fine lines or anything like that. Yeah, I don't think I'll be buying the full-size version of this, but it was pretty nice to try out. Going into foundations, the first foundation that I have to talk about is this Rimmel London BB cream, and this is the matte one. It's SPF 15, which is really what made me buy this because I was looking for a BB cream that had SPF in it. First of all, this is the color Light, and this is so dark on me. I'm wearing it today, and it's a little bit darker than my neck, but we're not going to tell anybody about that. But yeah, Light is pretty dark. Also, this, I'm not sure if you can see this, but this container can never stay clean. It's just really gross. And the product, I don't mind how it wears on the skin, but just those things alone makes me not want to repurchase it. But on the other hand, my favorite foundation ever is Fit Me Matte and Poreless. Color 112. I also have the color 110 for the winter, but right now I'm the color 112. And I really, really love this finish. It's definitely a matte finish, but it doesn't feel like you're wearing foundation. The other foundation was very liquidy, which you would think you wouldn't be able to feel on the skin, but you can definitely feel when you're wearing it. But this one just feels like a powder finish. It's really, really beautiful. I would say it's around a medium coverage, and that's pretty much all I need. So the first concealer I have is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, and I have it in the color Light. First of all, this concealer isn't very light, but I use this on my face, hide my pimples and my imperfections, but I really love this concealer. It's pretty much a cult favorite, and for a reason. It's a beautiful concealer. And the other concealer that I use for under my eyes is the Instant Age Rewind Concealer in the color Fair. Yes, I think I have the color Fair. I really, really like this applicator. Actually, I didn't think I would like it, but I really like this applicator and this color, and it blends beautifully in the skin, and it doesn't feel like you're wearing any product, which is pretty much my goal in life, to wear makeup and feel like I'm not wearing makeup. You get me? Yeah, you do. The first powder that I've had since the dawn of time, thanks to my older sister, is the CoverGirl, what is the name of this? Professional Loose Powder. And every time I've ever gotten this powder, which this is like the third time I've bought this powder, the lid cracks. So maybe I should start trying new powders, but I don't know why, I just keep repurchasing this. And then the other powder that I have is the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. I don't like this as much as the CoverGirl powder because I feel like this makes my face look a little more powdery. And also I think that this powder may have made me break out, but I still use this to set my under eyes because I feel like it's pretty good at doing that. Alright, so in the blush category, I know that I'm going to be getting rid of two of these blushes, and the first one that I'm going to be getting rid of is this MAC Studio blush in the color Blush. It's a very peachy tone blush, and it's the only blush I have in this color, but I broke the lid. I don't think that this is very pigmented, and it barely shows up on my skin. And then the other blush that I think I'm going to be getting rid of, I'm probably just going to be throwing this one away, sadly, is the Wet n Wild Color Icon blush in the color Pearlescent Pink. This actual blush is extremely, extremely powdery. Like the entire inside is just covered in just pink and sparkles. It has so many just sparkle particles, but I did love this blush when I first got it. I think this is the first one that I ever had, but also the lid completely came off. And then the third blush that I have, and the only blush that I actually use, is this tiny little Too Faced blush, and I'm pretty sure that this is in the color Love Hangover. Blush looks like on the inside, and this blush is very, very pigmented to the point that I will never go through this, but also I think I would like a blush that is a little less pigmented so I can build up the pigmentation instead of having to be very, very careful with it. The primer that I use is the Photo Focus eyeshadow primer by Wet n Wild. This is a dupe for the Urban Decay Primer Potion. Really do love this. It has a little bit of a color to it, so it does cancel out the veins and everything on my eyelids, so I really, really like this. And it does extend the wear of my eyeshadows. The mascara that I am currently using is this little sample size of the Urban Decay Perversion Mascara. This was going to be my Holy Grail mascara, but after about a month of use, this is starting, I'm wearing it today. This is starting to be a little bit clumpy. I don't know if you can see it. You have to wipe away black underneath the eyes, and I think that for a high-end mascara, it's just not worth it. If you have any recommendations for lengthening mascaras, I really don't like volume, just length, then please leave that in the comment section below. This mascara I have repurchased 1 or 2 times, and this is the Clump Crusher Extensions Mascara. And then lastly, the only liner that I have is this Wet n Wild liquid eyeliner, the Mega Liner in black. It has this felt tip that I don't think is thin enough. I really love just super thin liner. I'm not one for thick eyeliner at all. And so my favorite part of this whole thing is talking about the eyeshadow palettes. Let's start off with the most exciting one. I call this palette my Happy Palette. And this is actually the Morphe 35F palette, the Fall into Frost, I think, palette, and it has 1 row of matte and the rest are shimmers, but I hated how big that palette was. I wanted something more compact, and I was going to get a Z palette, but then I looked on Etsy for a different kind of more customizable option, and I came across Glamtech Cosmetics. She makes these beautiful palettes that you can etch your own design into the palettes. I chose this design, and it says very little is needed to make a happy life, and I think that is perfect for what I want to do with just my life in general. I want to simplify all the things I have, including makeup, so I just wanted a little reminder, and I love how it's white and the writing is white, and all you have to do is just slide this up and it just comes off really easily, but the magnets are really strong. You can hear it, it snaps back into place perfectly, but yeah, onto the actual eyeshadows. The Morphe formula is not my favorite formula, especially the mattes. The shimmer shades are beautiful. That's why I swatched all of the shimmer shades, because they're really the standout shades in all of the Morphe shadows. But I feel like they feel a little thick on the eyes. It's one of the only times that I actually feel like I'm wearing eyeshadow. The pigmentation is beautiful and the colors are obviously beautiful. I also bought a few shades. So I bought this shade from the Morphe website, I bought this shade, and I believe I bought this shade. And I really, really love the colors in this palette. I took my favorite shades from that palette and I gave the other darker colors mostly to one of my best friends. But this is not necessarily my favorite formula, but I still love having this palette, and it's beautiful, come on. I'm going to leave the link for Glamtech Cosmetics below, so if you want to check out that Etsy shop, it is amazing and they have great quality products. The next palette that I'm going to talk about was my first high-end palette purchase. I just suddenly decided to spend $50 on a makeup item. I had never bought anything high-end before, and I was like, oh, this smells like chocolate, so I have to get it. It seriously makes my day every time I use this. So this is still one of my favorite palettes ever, and this is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. And I chose this palette over the Naked palette, mostly because of Kathleen Light. She always talked about how much she loved this palette, and it smelled like chocolate, so I had to have it. But I just love, especially this half of the colors in this palette, I really, really love. I don't tend to go for these darker colors, but also the Champagne Truffle color is a beautiful highlight. I would definitely recommend this palette for anyone, a beginner, someone who has heard about this a million times. It smells like chocolate and it's amazing. I did end up buying this Buxom customizable palette. This is an amazing idea, and I actually really love the quality of the shades. But the colors that I have, this is going to be Filthy Rich, Invite Only, Mink Magnet is actually my favorite color. This was a color that I chose last. I didn't really know exactly what else I wanted, and I chose this color, and it ended up being my favorite color. Gold Status is a beautiful gold. Champagne Buzz is the color that I chose because of Marzipan, and then Invite Only over here was based on Salted Caramel. And so those are actually the only two eyeshadows I used on my eyes today, and I think they're really beautiful. And then Cashmere Craving is again an all over the lid shade for setting my eyeshadow primer, and I have to have one of those in each of my palettes. And this formula is actually amazing. I feel like these eyeshadows do not get enough hype, and I really love these. This is honestly maybe my favorite palette ever. It might even be better than the Chocolate Bar palette, but it doesn't smell like chocolate. But the actual formula, I love this. I would definitely recommend the Buxom customizable eyeshadow palettes. The whole thing together is 40 bucks. Like, that's a great deal. And I love it. I love it. It's my favorite. The first palette that I ever bought is the e.l.f. Mad for Matte palette. When I first got this palette, I loved it, and I actually really like this palette, especially for beginners. I feel like even if you're not a beginner and you need just a matte palette, this one is a very great one. I don't necessarily like using dark colors that much, and this is pretty much from here down. I usually don't use these colors, but all of these colors I use, and they're beautiful and buttery. They don't swatch very well. They do blend like a dream. All of the other palettes that I have already have the matte shades that I need, so I don't necessarily go for this palette that much anymore, so I might pass this one on to a friend. And so now, to finish off the face, you'd always go in with this setting spray, and the one that I have that is seriously almost out is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus setting spray. This setting spray. It was so inexpensive, and it just leaves like a dewy finish on my face, and the actual spray cap is it's a very fine spray, so I really love that. You're not getting like little big chunks of spray and all over your spray. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a good one. It's worth the money. I like this. And I believe that is all that I have in my makeup collection. I know that it can be smaller, and I know that I'm probably going to add a few more things. And if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. And I'm sorry for every video that I've had has been about a different subject, but you know, everybody goes through phases. And I feel like I go through more phases than anyone else I've ever met. But this is my phase at the moment, and I'm pretty into it. Makes me inspired to make YouTube videos, so that's all that really matters, I think. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I can't wait to see you soon with more makeup videos maybe, if you're all into that. See y'all later.